And when it comes to terrorist activity of Zelensky's regime, well, whole day today, dear friends, this Western-backed terrorist regime was launching drones to strike deep into Russian territory. And for midday, RIA Novosti reported that already more than 30 drones were intercepted by Russian air defense systems. And since then, this number has increased because Russian mayor of Moscow, Sergei Sobyanin, twice reported today about drone attack on Moscow. In the first occasion, in afternoon today, 3 drones were intercepted while they were approaching Moscow. And just a couple of minutes ago, Sergei Sobyanin, mayor of Moscow, also reported that air defense systems repelled yet another attack by 7 drones that was launched by Kiev regime to target Moscow. Due to these drone attacks, this evening, temporary restrictions were introduced at Sheremetyevo airport, and potentially other airports in the Moscow region were also implementing these restrictions for security reasons. That's what Kiev regime is, dear friends. Terrorists, mass murderers, and criminals. Meanwhile, Russian armed forces continue to advance in the zone of special military operation. And another breaking news, dear friends, which is that advanced units of their 19th Guard Tank Division of their sent group of forces of the Russian armed forces have reached the border of the Dnipropetrovsk region. And I shared picture of Russian militaries while they were crossing border. You can see on this picture on your screen barbed wire that was right on the border. And well, to be more precise, Russian militaries actually not just reached a border with Dnipropetrovsk region, but crossed this border. And Russian troops, one may argue that Russian troops began liberating people and settlements in the Dnipropetrovsk region. Also, as I predicted, by the way, in my previous updates, that most likely before end of this week, Russian troops will be in the Dnipropetrovsk region. That's exactly what is happening. Possibly for tomorrow morning, we will learn some more information about it. Maybe Russian troops will even begin operations to liberate some of the settlements in the Dnipropetrovsk region. If any update on that, of course, I will share tomorrow morning in the morning news program during the live stream on that. And when it comes to advances of the Russian armed forces and liberation of territory, people and the territories on this currently under control of this Western-backed terrorist regime of Zelensky, well, I reported this morning that Russian President Vladimir Putin was in the Kursk region yesterday, isn't it? Information about it was published today, understandably so, for security reasons. Obviously, movement of Russian president is not disclosed online in real time, which is quite understandable. But today, among other news about this visit of Russian president in Kursk region, a video was published in which Putin is talking with the residents of Kursk region, and at some point, discussion touched on topic of Sumy region, and public representatives of the public during this discussion basically emphasized that Sumy region should be liberated, and the Russian president kind of hinted that this will happen soon. This is my interpretation, dear friends, so it is what it is. But as far as I can tell, he actually hinted that, well, soon Sumy region, at least a significant part of it, will be liberated by Russian troops, and I will say most likely completely. Right? It's only a matter of time, and Russian troops already are conducting operations to liberate residents and the settlements in the borderline areas of the Sumy region with the Kursk region or Belgorod region. I reported about it I'm reporting about it on a regular basis, basically, and yesterday that was, isn't it, when I reported about progress of the Russian armed forces in Sumy region, when Russian troops basically liberated Loknya settlement, and more sources are confirming now this information that Loknya is under Russian control. And this settlement is located right opposite of Kursk salient area, where some time ago Kiev regime's forces were occupying certain parts. So summer offensive is coming, dear friends. That's what I can tell. I guess summer offensive is coming, and I'm not going to speculate in which direction: Sumy region, Dnipropetrovsk region, Kherson or Zaporozhye or Kharkov or whatever. But I think advances of the Russian forces will only accelerate. And mark my word, we will see it. We will see it. Let's continue with some more news. And TASS news agency is reporting that Foreign Minister of the Russian Federation, Sergei Lavrov, stated that the ceasefire and then we'll see approach will no longer be used. The ceasefire and see, in quotes, approach to resolving the conflict with Ukraine will no longer work. And he's obviously referring to Minsk I, Minsk II agreements, when basically representatives of the collective Western countries were pushing exactly this narrative that, let's do ceasefire and then we will see what is going to happen. And we all know that based on statements of Angela Merkel, German Chancellor, former German Chancellor, and also based on statements of Hollande, former President of France, they were never intended to basically adopt these Minsk I or Minsk II agreements. All they were trying to do is to gain some time for their proxy in a Kiev proxy regime, and to arm this regime, prepare as much as possible for further escalation with Russia, right? And therefore, Foreign Minister of the Russian Federation definitely has point that Moscow not gonna buy into any more such a nonsense from the West. No matter how historically French President Emmanuel Macron, for example, or the British Prime Minister Keir Starmer is eager to basically call United States to further tighten anti-Russian sanctions. So Moscow's position is clear. We don't really care about all these hysterical elements that are formally in charge of a number of European states. We will do whatever is in Russian national interests. And definitely we will never ever allow collective Western countries or their elites to basically lie to us. They might lie, but we will just ignore them. That's it. Right approach, of course, and it would be much better if this approach was adopted many years ago, because it was so clear that you cannot trust Western elites. It was so clear, but anyways, it's too late to talk about it now, isn't it? But at least, currently lessons being learned, and Moscow will no longer trust no representatives from their collective West, especially from Europe, by the way.